Greetings, friends. Do you believe in evil? What do you think we're facing in the world today? Do you think it's a lack of reason? Do you think the far left cares about reason? Or do you think the powers that be are trying to be more rational? Do you think we can debunk them and that will solve the problem? Well, the skeptic community tried that. People like Sargon of Akkad, they did that for a number of years. They ridiculed the left, and it didn't make any dent in the left at all. In fact, the left continued to grow. This monster, because I can call it a monster, continued to grow, continued to create new forms of degeneracy in this world. So I still see it with debunking all the stuff to do with the medical tyranny going on right now. I mean, it's useful for some people who are sitting on the fence to get them over to our side, to use reason, to show how these things don't make sense. But I really think that most of the people who would have been on our side are probably already there, and they will get there, not really through reason, but through experience, through the perception that what they're dealing with is simply something wrong, something sick, something disgusting. And these are words that aren't supposed to be objectively true since the Enlightenment. But we really only didn't stop believing in good and evil, or evil itself, since probably the 60s or the 70s at least. But the seeds of this idea were from the Enlightenment, effectively. I would say evil has no substance, in that evil is turning away from what is good, because if you believe in good, and God created the world as a good thing. He created all creatures and all humans, angels, everything good. But by turning away from what is good, this becomes evil. But evil cannot create itself. Evil does not have the power to create from nothing. It can only change, it can only transform things. So you're not going to win this spiritual war by explaining things. It's going to help, but it's really not going to be the core tool in winning this spiritual battle. Because when we think of things like rape, murder, stealing, abortion, pedophilia, we don't need to explain why these things are evil. They just are evil. And if you think you can somehow take on the left and take on, and it's not just the left really, it's basically the world today, including the so-called right. If you try to explain things merely by reason, you're already conceding the game to them. You're already admitting that there is a case that they deserve to be heard. No, they don't deserve to be heard. These things are evil. Some things are evil in the world. But we've lost that sense, or we've at least lost the impetus to declare that, because that involves offending some people. You're always going to offend someone. Cannibalism, for example, these things are evil. Giving puberty blockers to children, it's evil. It is the historical norm for the vast majority of cultures. I mean, I guess I shouldn't fall into the trap of saying, oh, because of all cultures do it, therefore it's necessarily the right thing. That's true. But it's the historical norm for Western civilization, for really any civilization, to have a value set involving good and evil. By losing this value set, we're at a loss. We can easily be defeated by irrational forces, or by another system, another culture which has its own belief in good and evil. Then you're going to see that adopting a good-evil value set is a vital tool in winning this spiritual war. You can't reason with evil. It just is evil. It hates reason itself. That's why you're never going to win this war if you keep trying to debunk and explain and ridicule. You might even say ridiculing and joking at these degenerate things is a coping mechanism. It makes you look weak. You need to call it for what it is. Call a spade a spade. This is evil, this is dark, this is demonic. Don't hesitate to use words like demonic or evil. we live in a disenchanted world. There was a reality for all of these things in the past. A soul, dragons, ghosts, all of these things. You may think it's ridiculous. Oh, it's ridiculous to believe in dragons. It's ridiculous to believe in all these things. But there is some reality to these things, and it's if you start de-enchanting the world and saying there's no possible way for such thing as a dragon to exist, even as a spiritual force, even as a demonic force, then that's no different from saying evil doesn't exist. Because evil is something fundamentally spiritual and almost metaphysical. Hasta luego, amigos.